What's up, spectators? Welcome back to another episode of the Great Ace Attorney. We are currently speaking with the ballerina we met before, and we're trying to present evidence that will sort of reveal what is exactly inside her luggage. I'm pretty sure if we show... The thing is, I swore we did this at the end of the last one, but it's possible I did not. Now, this is actually where we left off. Even though it's saved, it didn't technically save at that point. It didn't start me here like I would hope. It started me like 5 minutes before actually getting to this to be continued point. I wish we hadn't been thrown out like that. I wish we'd managed to find some clue as to what the speckled band might be. We didn't manage to investigate at all. And I imagine that we won't be able to for a while longer. We'll never get past that sailor guarding the door. He's clearly glaring at us, as if to say, don't even think about it. Wait a minute. What? What happened to our great detective friend? Where did he go? Oh yes, he's completely disappeared. When did he do that? He slipped away as quietly as the wind, but not before ensuring these were securely back on my wrists. I really wish we'd had a chance to look around in Miss Pavlova's cabin. Why you look like that? You want something? Maybe you want me to throw you out again, No, definitely not that. Next time I have to throw you out, I show you where lobsters spend winter, understand? Where do they spend winter? And where do they spend summer? I don't... okay. Maybe I should steer clear of him until he's forgotten my face. I don't think he'll ever forget your face. Can we just leave? Because we've been here. We've already investigated. We could go back to the cabin. Looks like they're still investigating in here. On that subject, I wonder if Inspector Hosanaga's unscathed. What do you mean? Surely you haven't forgotten, have you? Don't you remember what he said about allowing you out of this cabin to investigate? He was going to talk to the captain about it. He said he'd lay his life on the line for you. Oh, yes. But I'm sure he was exaggerating. Let's see what he has to say for himself. He might have some new information for us. You never know. They say that, but he's not here. A lot of the evidence is actually like these check marks saying that I've already examined it, there's nothing new to examine. But a lot of this stuff, it's letting me re-examine. Can't tell if I'm supposed to. Where did you go? Oh, I just went to the next door cabin to investigate. Who gave you permission for this? Well, I mean, Seaman Hosonaga did. That new Japanese, was it? Later I'll roll him into ball and throw him in cold room. Is that where lobsters spend winter? He's gone back to guarding the door. I hope Inspector Hosonaga doesn't find himself in too much trouble on our account. He's really gone out of his way to help us, hasn't he? When we get back to Japan, we'll have to take him for a steak at Le Carnival. That could be a very long time from now, Naruhodo. No! Why? Of all the things that... I've already examined this. Practically everything else in the room could be re-examined. Oh, Lord. Let's try the outline. It's clear that these letters were written with the ink that was somehow spilled on the floor, and they spell the Russian word for wardrobe. It does seem to be an unambiguous pointer to you, as you were sleeping in there. But to be truly unambiguous, it should have just spelled out my name, don't you think? Well, either way, one fact remains. It's hard to imagine that Kojima would have written his last words or word in Russian, which begs the question of who did write it. Whoa! Seigi, the Japanese word for justice. The brushstrokes are straight and true, just like Kojima. Yes, his calligraphy always was a reflection of his heart. Yet can you really look at those characters without feeling shame, knowing who drew them so thoughtfully? Of course I can. I mean, I'm innocent, so why shouldn't I be able to? Even though you stowed away on the ship? Now you're going to bring that up, are you? I can't win. All the books provided for passengers occupying this cabin neatly arranged on the shelf. They were all over the place when we first looked around, if you remember. Oh yes, and you tidied them up, didn't you? You have to look after the ship's property. Unruly behavior in the cabins leads to damage. But it really wasn't me who knocked them over. Well, anyway, I feel much better now they're neatly lined up. I can't relax when things are untidy. There aren't many things left, it looks like. Oh. The rules of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. So by bringing her pet on board, Miss Pavlova has broken the rules. She called it her friend, didn't she? Yes, although we don't know what form this friend takes yet. I'm almost certain that whatever it is, it's inside the traveling case in her cabin. A friend. There's more to this than it seems, I think. Oh, he was here the whole time. This poor man. You're back. Inspector! What happened to you? Your face is... Please, don't worry about it. They're just scratches. Maybe by a bear, maybe. Oh, made by a bear, maybe. When I told the captain that I'd given you permission to investigate, he told me he'd pummel me with his fists and then toss me overboard. But the pummeling was over in a flash, and he must have decided against throwing me overboard. So it was nothing, really. It looks like he wasn't joking when he said he'd lay his life on the line if he had to. Well, thanks to your efforts, we now know a little about the neighboring cabin. Yes, so I understand. I bumped into a man claiming to be a great detective a little while ago. I think his name was something like Herlock Sholmes. I don't think he was German, though. That explains it. Shall we compare notes, then? We can tell you what we found out. Yes, let's do it. Nikolina Pavlova? She's in the cabin next door? Do you know who she is? Please, what self-respecting ballet fan wouldn't know that graceful angel? Oops, I think I upset him there. Well, that tells us the neighboring cabin's unrelated to the case, at least. How? Because angels don't go around committing crimes, do they? Inspector, has your investigation in here proved fruitful? If I'm honest, there's very little more I can do. Our duty is to make sure the scene isn't disturbed. Ready to hand over to the Hong Kong police. So I'm just keeping watch here, trying not to take my eyes off the job. I see. There is one thing. I do have a small piece of new information for you. What? Do tell us, Inspector, please. What is this new information you have, Inspector? It's this. The Buria's medical officer has finished his examination of the body. I managed to obtain the report. Oh, Kazuma's post-mortem report. Kazuma. So, what was the cause of death? Damage to the cervical vertebrae is what's written in the report. His neck was broken. Yes, it would seem so. There were no obvious wounds or other signs of injury, so at first I think they were considering poison. But it turns out they found no trace of poison in his system at all. Well, what weapon was used then? Nothing's been found as yet, but the fact that there are no signs of a wound suggests it may have been a blunt object, something that wouldn't leave a mark. I see. All the body's nerves run through the spine to the brain. A strong enough impact to the neck could induce death. It is a possibility, and no obvious wound would be left. Poor Kazuma. I have a second copy of the report. If it might be useful, you're welcome to have it. Are you sure? Yes, it's fine. I trust you. Oh, he's so good to us. After all, if I didn't trust you, I'd never have agreed to you leaving the cabin in the first place, would I? The post-mortem report's been entered into the court record. A report from the Buria's medical officer giving the cause of death is a cervical spine injury. No traces of external injury or poison. Mr. Sholmes was here, was he? Yes. He seemed to be enjoying himself a little too much as he crept about on the floor investigating. But then he suddenly left. I suppose he must have become bored. Did he say anything at all? Actually, now you mention it, yes, just one thing, but he practically shouted it. It's shoe polish, was all he said. Shoe polish? Wonder what he meant. It was when he was over there, by the piece of broken glass, do you see? Perhaps he was talking about this brick-colored mark, do you think? Yes, that must be it. But how could Mr. Sholmes know that it's shoe polish? That leaves me cold, I'm afraid. I have no idea. What is it, Susato? Well, Kazuma was wearing leather shoes with a very dark tan hue. A sort of dark brownish red, then. Yes, a little like the color of red wine, but darker. I often repaired them for him. Does this mean that this mark was made by the polish on Kazuma's shoes as they scuffed on the floor? That's really all I can tell you at this stage. I should return to my post. My fellow crewmen's eyes are boring into the back of my head. Yes, that might be for the best. Thank you. Poor Inspector. You look exhausted. Oh, no, well. I feel terrible that I failed to protect Asogi. He was my responsibility. Of course, my pain's nothing compared to yours. You were his friends. The truth is, I seem to have had a heavy head ever since I woke this morning. That's interesting. My head's still throbbing too. Interesting. I would like to review the medical report, if I can. Time of death between 1 and 2. Damage to the cervical vertebrae, resulting in instant death. Victim's neck was almost certainly broken as a result of a strong blow. Alright, what else can I examine here? It's some 2 weeks since we set sail from Japan. Have you really been living in that wardrobe the entire time? I think living isn't quite the right description. Oh no, I suppose not. Although it must have been rather exciting making this voyage in your own secret hideout. The trouble was I never knew when a member of the crew might come in. So yes, I did basically have to live in the wardrobe. And last night was no exception. But because of that, you had no idea what was happening out here in the cabin. No, sadly not. So this ventilator joins to Miss Pavlova's cabin. That's right. And just a few minutes before he died, Kazuma saw something emerging from it. The speckled band, as he described. If only Miss Pavlova had been able to shed some light on it, but she seemed as baffled as we are. Yes, I wonder if she's telling us everything, though. I'm not sure. I know most people aboard would say the same about me, but there was something about that woman that didn't sit right with me. I don't remember seeing this before. This is a bell cord contraption, I think. What do you mean, contraption? I read about it in a book I was studying that talked about life in Great Britain. Large households often have bell cords like this, which you can pull to ring a bell to summon servants. Really? That sounds almost magical. Shall we give it a little try? Yes. In the interests of cultural research, obviously. I suppose nobody comes for lowly Japanese people. No, I'm sure it's just that everyone's busy, that's all. It really is such a beautiful color, this glass. It looks like whatever it was is broken clean in two. But the other half is nowhere to be seen. And then there's this brick-colored mark, which is shoe polish according to the great detective you seem to know all about. I suppose it must be from Kazuma's shoes. Maybe, but what I'd like to know is, how can the detective be so sure that it's shoe polish and not something else? Because he's a great detective, of course. That's hardly a reason, is it? This is where Kazuma spent his final moments writing his diary. 1:23 a.m., I can hear a faint whistling sound. 1:35 a.m., what looks like some sort of speckled band dangling from the ventilator. Looking at his writing here on this page, it's almost impossible to believe that he's gone. Kazuma left us a valuable clue in these words, I'm sure of it. We have to solve this mystery. We will. Ooh. It looks like we're done with this side. Let us now go back to the other side. Do one final pass. Oh, goodness. It doesn't like that I'm trying to look down by this meal here. This click and drag is a lot easier. Yep, that's it. All right, let's get out of here. If I can figure out how to do that. The guy's gone. Look! Stroganov is gone. Strong enough. The burly Russian sailor who's always crossing his arms and glaring at us. All these Russian names are impossible to remember. Tra-la-la. Tra-la-la. Did you hear that? It sounded like someone singing. Tra-la-la, lira-lira-lay. I did it the great detective way. This caroling, I know that lark-like voice. Well, never mind that now. It's a golden opportunity for us. You're right. We must seize it. Let's get inside Miss Pavlova's cabin while we can and investigate. Definitely, before that stringy knot crewman comes back. Stroganoff, not stringy knot. Move. Miss Pavlova isn't back yet. Susanto. Oh, where's she gone? Hey, what are you doing? Those are her private things. This is not a moment to waste, Naruhodo. We must investigate as quickly as we can. She's the one that wouldn't let me read the diary. Tut-tut. I suppose you're right. For Kazuma's sake. Not just for Kazuma. What do you mean? It can't be long now until we arrive at port, in Hong Kong. I don't want you to be in those handcuffs when we get there. Really? We must solve this case. By ourselves if we have to. Yes, we will. Oh my! Miss Pavlova's case is open. It's completely empty inside, but according to the great detective's great deduction, she was hiding her special friend in there. A friend that she had to keep secret, because you're not allowed to bring animals aboard. I wonder what kind of animal she had in there. And more to the point, where is it now? Naruhodo, are you there? Sorry, I'm right here. Yes. Why? Oh, good. I thought you might have climbed into the wardrobe when I wasn't looking. There's no place like home. Believe me, I don't have some strange compulsion to jump inside every wardrobe I see, you know. Well, anyway, I'm not sure anyone could fit inside this one. It's full of beautiful outfits. I suppose they're all stage costumes. I was rather hoping we might find Miss Pavlova's friend hiding in there, but no such luck. They're displayed in this cabin too. Look, the SS Buria's rules. Oops. Must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in the cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. I suppose Miss Pavlova realized that she needed to keep the contents of her case a secret after she read this. Her special friend, I mean. I wonder where her friend has disappeared to now. It's probably having fun exploring the ship, I imagine. I just hope Seaman Stroganoff doesn't find it and throw it overboard. Oh yes, so do I. All the books have toppled over together. Look, every single one. Do you think that's a god of the sea, perhaps? He's toppled too, though. It's exactly the same as the bookcase next door, in Kazuma's cabin. Perhaps. Perhaps Miss Pavlova was practicing a difficult ballet pose and fell against the bookcase. I don't know. Would she really be practicing ballet on the same night she ran away from her ballet company? Alright then. It must have been you. You lost your temper and knocked them all over in a fit of rage. Not everything bad that happens on this ship is because of me, you know. Well, anyway, I'll set them all straight again in here too. I don't like seeing things in disarray. And somehow this is significant, of course. We'll find out later. There are just a few books on the desk. Nothing else by the looks of it. Well, Miss Pavlova only ran away from the ballet last night. She's hardly occupied this cabin for any time at all. That's true. I wonder what kind of book she likes to read. Let me see. Yes, I see. It would seem that Miss Pavlova enjoys reading. Books written in Russian. Thanks. I think I probably already knew that. It's rude to ask too much of people, Naruhodo. Kindly remember that. I suppose every cabin has a waste paper basket. Shall we have a little look and see what's been thrown away? Naruhodo, it's poor etiquette to go sifting through someone's rubbish, you know? Those eyes. She's looking at me like I'm a piece of rubbish now. However, these are special circumstances, I think. Exactly, we have no choice. There's hardly anything in here at all. Well, that's a little disappointing. There's one of these next to the bed in Kazuma's cabin, too. Yes, it's a bell cord. I can't resist. I bet it doesn't make a sound. After all, we did find a bell in the adjacent room sliced in half. Yet it worked. She barely hesitated, and she gave it a good tug, too. No, I didn't actually expect anyone to come. We don't want them to. We're trying to investigate in secret. All right. So this ventilator connects to Kazuma's cabin. Yes, although what a fool a shipbuilder must be to open a ventilator into another room. Maybe it's so that if there's a gas leak next door, the occupant of this cabin would notice and raise the alarm. Or the occupants of both cabins would die of gas poisoning. That is a possibility. Anyway, last night Kazuma wrote that he saw a speckled band coming out of this ventilator. I wonder what this little saucer's doing on the floor. Yes, it doesn't look like it's been dropped. More like it was put there deliberately. Do you think there could be a leak in the roof just above here? A leak? Is this ship quite safe? I'm sure that even if there's a little leak in the roof, it doesn't mean the whole ship's going to sink. No, you're right. Of course you're right. She's really trying to persuade herself, isn't she? It would seem this teapot is empty. So the natural conclusion is that the Russians are very thirsty people. Or, because Miss Pavlova only came into this cabin last night, she hasn't had the chance to make any tea yet. I mean, it could be either. It's definitely that they're excessively thirsty. I'd lay 1,000 to 1 on it. You're rather obstinate, aren't you? We're running out of things to investigate here. It's not looking good. But why hasn't anything happened? Usually when you've completed your investigation, they sort of wrap it up for you with something. The cabin door has the same simple sort of bolted latch that our cabin door does. If the bolt's drawn across, there's no way anybody could enter the cabin from outside. Yes, it's not a particularly heavy-duty bolt, is it? But still, it wouldn't slide across of its own accord, would it? No, and the door is made of metal, so there's no chance of trickery using magnets to unbolt it from the outside. And it seals up perfectly, too, to stop any seawater coming in. So you couldn't use the method you told me of passing a thread through a crack around the closed door either. I seem to know a lot of tricks for opening doors. I'm starting to see why they suspect me. Well, it looks like we're done here. So maybe I missed something in the hallway. Let's try leaving. He's still not here. Interesting. First class cabin number 1. Yes, that's our cabin. Not our cabin, it's Kazuma's. Your accommodations confined to the wardrobe inside. We've read this before, but they didn't mark it as something I've already investigated. We should probably find Hosonaga, but we've already done that. Ah, here he is. It's Sholmes. Look. You never know where he's going to turn up next, do you? He seems to be stealing a look at something as he sings to himself. Tra-la-la, lay. I did it. The great detective way. He's still singing. Do you think he hasn't noticed us? Or he's simply in extremely high spirits? Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when the yard bit off more than it could chew. And through it all, when there was doubt, it's lucky Herlock was about. A little bit of, like, poetry slam. I solved it all, and I stood tall. I did it the great detective way. Mr. Sholmes. Oh, look at all these animations. You want to fight? Honestly, interrupting a fellow when he's singing, and I was just about to reach the climactic finish. Sorry, I thought you were never going to stop, so I figured now's a good time as any. I very nearly dropped you to the floor with one of my famous right hooks. Alright, I get the picture. Now, could you put those fists away? Man, pulling off these animations out of nowhere. Sholmes, you seem to be examining something before we interrupted you. Ah, yes, that. I was immersed in study of the ship's log as penned by the stockily built crewman who's usually on guard here. Oh yes, the ship's log. And did you find out anything useful from it? Well, after 2 a.m. this morning, the majority of the entries are blank. Which means that there was nothing to report. Nothing of note happened. So... You truly are a student from the land of the rising sun. You've been utterly blinded by it. Your logic, my boy, is inverted. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? Observe the other pages, and all shall become clear. It would seem the same crewman off-stands sentry in this first-class passageway, and he has an almost religious practice of recording nothing to report every half hour. He writes that in every 30 minutes? Nothing to report. Precisely. Put simply, the seaman writes nothing to report when there is just that. And yet, the ship's log from last night is largely blank. He didn't even write nothing to report. Do you mean... Yes, there were circumstances afoot last night which led to the seaman being absent from his post. What kind of circumstances? What happened? That remains a mystery for now, but we can be sure something significant took place. So significant that it caused the seaman to forget his regular habit of scribing. Nothing to report in the log. These are important details. I would stake my life on it. You must log the ship's log in your mental file. The ship's log has been entered into the court record. Now that deduction was worthy of a great detective. You're starting to understand what my way is, I see. What makes Sholmes' brilliance. Oh, ouch. What is it? Are you hurt? Oh, don't worry yourself. I seem to be afflicted with a throbbing head this morning for some reason. Nothing more. Well, my friends, until our next encounter. He's still singing to himself. I can hear it as he wanders off down the passageway. Is something wrong? You seem lost in thought. It's just, well, I feel the same. Ever since I woke this morning, I've had something of a headache. A sort of continuous throbbing. You too. Is there some... What to investigate? That door leads to the second class area. It's locked. I can't open it. No, well, that stands to reason. No one wants to let the murderer escape. She gave me a very stern look when she said that. And what else? That's it for this side. Let's go back to the other side. Miss Pavlova's cabin. This could be our chance. The burly sailor doesn't appear to be around at the moment. We could investigate every last inch of that cabin. I'm not sure if we could go that far, but we could certainly do with looking around more. I'm sure we could learn something. Alright, now the hallway's completed, so let's try going back and seeing maybe we can speak with the good detective in Kazuma's cabin. While we're here, let's see. Let me do one quick little pass again, make sure everything's good, no new evidence anywhere. Yes, it looks pretty clear. Alright, other side. Looking around. Looking good. Alright. Oh, the option to converse isn't there, actually. Well, that's... I only have one option left, and that's Miss Pavlova's cabin. Ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. Where? As it went. Shut down the engines immediately. Vessel sighted a quarter-mile fore. Full stop, hard to starboard, all hands, brace for impact. More nautical terms. What the... I think we're about to crash into another ship. I can't stand. Susato? What? Oh, okay. Susato, are you alright? Are you injured? I think I'm fine, thank you. My theory is, naturally all the books, yep, as you can see, all the books are knocked over again, and the door is locked. So it goes to show that in the event that the ship tilts the other way, it would unlock the doors. Or simply that the door was not locked originally at all. That it was unlocked and then it locked itself. So it was not a locked room mystery. I think, yes, the ship has come to a stop. Oh my goodness, what about you? Are you hurt? No, I'm fine. Hello, is anybody in there? Shout if you need assistance. Oh, that sounds like... Inspector Hosonaga. Is that you in there, Naruhodo? Unbolt the door, quickly. The bolt. Look at that. The door's bolted. Did you do that, Susato? No, I didn't touch it. Well, that's strange. How did? And look at the books. They're just like they were before again. Naruhodo, aren't you going to open the door and let the inspector in? I'd better tidy this place up first. What? Why would you do that? He's just sitting out there, patiently waiting. Our violent emergency stop had solved one mystery at least, in a very vivid way. But I knew that what awaited us on the other side of the cabin door would not be pleasant. I hurried around, tidying up the cabin with a new sense of foreboding in my heart. And another to be continued, which is a decent time to end this video, even though just about all of it was just investigating. It's been 40 minutes of investigating, with a fun moment with Herlock, and a fun moment with Hosonaga, so our two favorite detectives. I think overall, all right, we got through a decent amount. So stay tuned for the next one, and Thanks for watching. Bye-bye!